Welcome to another episode of Insects for Fun. I'm your host, Mitchell Logan, and today we're taking a flight across continents, chasing one of the most iconic butterflies to ever grace the skies. It's big, it's bold, it's ancient, and it's got tails like a bird. The Old World Swallowtail is scientifically known as Papilio machaon. And yes, this is the butterfly on all those classic field guide covers. The yellow wings with black veins and those elegant little tails make them iconic in the world of butterflies. But it's not just a pretty face. It's a survivor, an actor in myths, and a worldwide traveler that's been gliding through history for thousands of years. Let's start with the name, because Papilio machaon sounds like something out of a Roman spellbook. But Papilio is actually just Latin for butterfly. Machaon, on the other hand, that's where it gets interesting. Because Machaon was a healer from Greek mythology, the son of Asclepius, the god of medicine. So, in a way, this butterfly carries the name of an ancient doctor. Why Linnaeus decided on that name back in 1758 is anyone's guess, but I like to imagine he saw this butterfly as a sort of natural remedy, a healer of the spirit. Now, the Old World part just separates it from its cousins across the Atlantic. This one rules Europe, North Africa, and Asia, while its American relatives, like the anise swallowtail, do their own thing. You could think of them as distant cousins who took a different evolutionary road a few million years ago. If you've ever seen one of these up close, picture a creamy yellow butterfly outlined in bold black with shimmering blue spots near the tails and tiny red dots on the hindwings. As for the tails, well, they're not just for show. They actually serve as decoys. When birds attack, they go for the tails instead of the body, kind of like nature's built-in escape plan. Which is actually why you might have seen these butterflies with ripped tails or even the tails of their wings missing completely. It's not other butterflies doing that damage. This is a battle scar. The wingspan of these butterflies can reach 9 centimeters, which for a butterfly is pretty big. And when they fly, it's not the frantic flutter you might see from smaller species. These ones glide, like they know they're too elegant to rush. And you might be thinking, alright, well if they can glide, then maybe they can get pretty far like monarchs. But these butterflies do not have a set flight path or yearly mass migration. A better word for their travels would be wander, because they'll roam wherever the wind and wildflowers take them. In Europe, for example, some individuals drift south or down mountainsides when the weather cools, and then return to higher elevations when things warm up. In northern places like Scandinavia or Siberia, populations might disappear for a year or two when the weather's too harsh, and then suddenly reappear when conditions are right again. It's not a single butterfly making the trip, but rather generations expanding and retreating like waves. One female lays her eggs on the edge of a range. The next generation moves a little farther, and so on. Over time, that adds up to a butterfly that seems to be everywhere, even though no single individual ever travels the whole way. They've even been spotted crossing islands and reaching new territories after strong seasonal winds. It's less like an organized migration and more like a slow-motion generational road trip. So while the Old World Swallowtail doesn't follow the monarch's epic flight plan, it still earns its wing as one of nature's great wanderers. Alright, let's talk about that life cycle. The Old World Swallowtail starts life as a single egg laid on plants in the carrot family, things like fennel, dill, and parsley. When the caterpillar hatches, it's this tiny black and orange speck that honestly looks like a piece of bird poop, which, let's be real, is brilliant camouflage and a common occurrence for swallowtails. I've actually been raising some recently, and I'm putting a vlog about it up on Patreon soon. Now, as far as how the caterpillars change when they grow, they actually transform into something far more colorful. Green with black stripes and orange spots, like a caterpillar Mardi Gras. And if you disturb it, it pops out this little orange forked organ from its head called an osmeterium. This osmeterium releases a foul smell. Some people say it smells like citrus. I think it's more like rotting orange peels, but Either way, it tells predators to back off. And seriously, that smell is pungent. Like I said, I've been raising some citrus swallowtails in jars, and when I open the jar and disturb them, I get a really strong whiff. Anyway, after several molts, the caterpillar spins a silk girdle around itself and pupates, transforming into a chrysalis. And what comes out, as you know, is pure artwork. Earlier, I mentioned how these butterflies are wanderers, and now I want to showcase just how far its territory reaches. You can find them in the Scottish Highlands, the deserts of Morocco, the Japanese countryside, and even parts of North America where it overlaps with Annie's swallowtails. The butterflies prefer open meadows and hillsides where wildflowers are abundant. They're pretty fond of thistles, clovers, and lavender, so if you have any of those in your garden, you might just get a visit. In colder regions, they enter a kind of dormancy called diapause, spending winter as a chrysalis until spring returns. It's like pressing a pause on life and resuming when the world warms back up again. And speaking of pausing on life and coming back, because of this butterfly's name, it's long been a symbol of renewal and healing. In Japanese art, swallowtails represent joy and marital bliss. They're even part of wedding kimono patterns. In Europe, especially during the Renaissance, the swallowtail's design inspired everything from jewelry to book illustrations. It's one of those rare insects that crossed over from nature into culture. And it's not hard to see why. When you watch one gliding across a field, it's hard not to feel a little bit lighter yourself. And maybe that's the healer in its name doing its job. Sadly, like many butterflies, the Old World Swallowtail has had a rough go in recent years. Habitat loss, pesticides, and the disappearance of native plants have all taken their toll. In the UK, they were once found across England but are now mostly limited to the Norfolk Broads, where they rely on a plant called milk parsley to survive. But there is good news. Thanks to conservation work and community efforts, people are replanting host plants and creating butterfly-friendly gardens. In Japan, children even raise swallowtail caterpillars in schools and release them as part of festivals. And with that, let's finish this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please leave a review on whatever platform you're listening from. It really helps a lot. And you can, of course, also find me on Instagram at insects4fun, or send me an email at insectsfordummies@gmail.com if there's a species you'd like me to cover. And special thanks, of course, to all the Patreon supporters who keep this show going along.